NASA says this flight will open the door to America's return to the moon and beyond.
All of this ultimately is for a purpose, and that is to get to Mars.
Hurley flew the final shuttle mission in 2011 and has spent years training on the new technology.
They called it a flying iPhone in terms of just the technology that's going up there. We've seen the Tesla cars. Is it a big old iPad in there that's working out in there? How's it all working?
It is kind of like a Tesla car in the sense that most of the controls for the crew inside the cockpit are all touchscreens. We do have a few hardware buttons and switches for very, very critical things, but almost everything is controlled by touch and screen. That's even how you fly it.
For nearly a decade, American astronauts have had to hitch rides on Russian rockets. Now that a private company is handling transportation, NASA says it can focus on the science of space exploration. Skyler Henry, CBS News at the Kennedy Space Center.
And let's bring in astronaut Anne McClain now. She was a flight engineer for Expedition 5859 to the International Space Station. Welcome, Anne. Great to have you with us. So this is the first manned flight for the SpaceX Crew Dragon and the first time a commercial spacecraft has carried NASA astronauts into orbit. So remind our viewers how big of a deal that is. Put that into context for us.
Gosh, it's hard to sum up how big of a deal it is. As you mentioned, it's the first crewed flight to launch from American soil since the space shuttle program ended in 2011. Now, we ended that program so that we could fund this exact program. And so these SpaceX and Boeing and multiple other companies have been competing for these contracts with NASA to shuttle our U.S. astronauts and our international partners back and forth to the space station. So you can think about it like a taxi. So we are going to go, or actually more like a rental car. We're going to fly their vehicles up to the space station. The fact that our commercial companies here in the U.S. have built, designed, developed, and worked with NASA on these vehicles means they can take that technology and apply it in whatever way that they see fit, which is going to open up low Earth orbit to so many more users.
And what are the advantages and perhaps disadvantages of a private company launching NASA astronauts?
You know, it has been a growing experience, I think, both for NASA and for SpaceX and for Boeing. As I mentioned, many other companies involved with this Launch America. This is so much bigger than any one organization or one company, but you know, there's always going to be growing pains, and I kind of have joked in the past that it's kind of a perfect marriage. You know, our private industry in the United States, they're so adaptive and malleable and innovative, and so many more ideas, and they can make really quick changes. And then NASA has a lot of history, a lot of institutional knowledge and experience. And sometimes when we can marry up that institutional knowledge and that background and the resources that NASA has with the innovative and creative problem solving of companies, it really, I think, is a perfect marriage with a solution that you're looking at right now. I mean, I have just been in awe, like everyone else, of this vehicle today.
It sounds like a very exciting collaboration for sure. So, Anne, perhaps you can explain to us a little bit more about what is going on right now as you and I are speaking. What are some of the final preparations before the launch?
Sure. So most people just saw, if you saw the video of the access arm retracting, that's kind of that long hallway that the astronauts took to get into their capsule. And that's going to be the last major visual milestone before launch. The next thing that's going to happen is that the launch escape system is going to be armed. You can think about that like an ejection seat in an aircraft. So if there's an anomaly on the rocket at any point, that launch escape system will automatically trigger, and it will pull the astronauts to safety away from the rocket. Much like in 2018 when U.S. astronaut Nick Hague and his crew aborted during a launch over in Kazakhstan. So they're going to arm that system right before they are going to load the rocket fuel and the liquid oxygen onto the vehicle. This is another new system that SpaceX has been testing and developing. We call it load and go, and what that means is we're going to use rocket-grade kerosene, RP1, and super-cooled liquid oxygen loaded in the vehicle right before launch. That's because we want that liquid oxygen to stay at a really cool temperature where the density is higher and we can actually put more fuel onto the vehicle. So those are the things that are happening over about the next 10, 15 minutes. And that fueling is actually going to happen right up until a couple minutes before launch.
So interesting to hear an astronaut describe it. And we do know that so many things are controlled right now, very carefully controlled. But we know that one of the big things that can't be controlled is the weather. So right now, how closely are NASA scientists watching the weather? What is the biggest weather threat at the moment?
Yeah, so the big picture is we don't want to have any severe weather or storms or winds, not only at the launch site, but also at any of the abort sites. And so, if you think on a really broad level, the vehicle's going to take off from Florida, and anywhere along the launch sequence, if anything were to happen, that launch abort system is going to pull our crew away from the rocket, which means they can land kind of halfway around the world. And so the folks at NASA and SpaceX and the Air Force and many other different agencies and international partners in Europe and Russia are all looking at the weather, not only at the launch site, but at all of the abort sites.
So right now, Anne, what can you tell us? So how does it look at this moment? Because we know it's ever changing.
It is ever changing, and the last I heard, we are go for launch. And with every minute that ticks by, and we're still go for launch, we get one step closer to Launch America becoming a reality here in about 33 minutes.
That is good news. All right, but what precautionary measures are in place if something does go wrong during the launch?
So the launch escape system is the biggest safety feature for our astronauts that are aboard the top of that rocket right now. The reason that we arm that before this load and go, before we put the rocket fuel and the liquid oxygen onto the vehicle, is just that. It's for crew safety. In the early 80s, one of the Russian rockets had an anomaly on the pad on the rocket, and the launch escape system pulled that crew to safety. So that is the biggest one. The next layer, and that is an automatic system that can detect any problems long before a human eye could catch it and it would bring the crew to safety. Long before that, all over the world right now are multiple mission control centers. The main ones right now looking at this launch are going to be the SpaceX Control Center out in Hawthorne and the Launch Control Center down in Florida. And they have engineers that are watching every single valve, tank, temperature on that vehicle right now. And all that information gets funneled through the launch director down at Kennedy Space Center. So when you hear the launch director say their go, that is a compilation of the hundreds of decisions that everyone else has fed him to say we're go.
So that's a real go. And SpaceX and NASA completed a full rehearsal of launch day activities with both the astronauts over the weekend. How did that go? What can you tell us about it?
It went really well. Those rehearsals are really important for the crew. This crew right here is not only are they launching this vehicle today, but every single step that they took today is a test. What time do they get dressed? What time do they eat breakfast? What time do they get in the car and go to the launch site? All of these things had to be thought about. And so Bob and Doug, two of our most experienced test pilots and test engineers in the office, were testing that whole sequence. And so last weekend, they did just that. They did a dress rehearsal, everything all the way up until lighting the fires last weekend. And that was really to test the sequence, to make sure they had time to get everything done without feeling rushed, that we could take adequate tests or checks all along the way. So that test went well. And so today they basically ran that whole thing again. And hopefully at the end, we'll light the fires.
And if everything goes as planned and those astronauts are in orbit, how long until they get to the International Space Station? Do they spend just one night in space?
That's right. So they have multiple checkouts to do between now and then, but they will dock to the International Space Station tomorrow morning. And so between now and then, they're going to be testing all the systems on the vehicles. It's first time that a lot of these have been in space. However, they are going to be in space in less than 9 minutes. And so it's a real quick trip to go uphill. And then they'll stay in orbit as they kind of sequence their way into chasing the International Space Station to get ready for that docking.
And what is it like? I mean, you've spent, over 200 days in space. What is that like? I mean, obviously they have, they have each other, so they're not alone. But is there a sense of isolation that far from Earth?
It's so profoundly different for everybody. So my experience was actually almost just the opposite. I felt so connected to everybody that I was working with. Both on the International Space Station and on the ground. About half the time I was in space, there was 3 of us. The other half, there was about 6 of us. So plenty of company up on board, great people to be working with. But When I talk about this, the control centers all around the world with hundreds of people in many different places that we're talking to and we're interacting with every single day, you really get a profound sense of how much support you have when you are in space. And so to me, I felt very connected to a lot of different people. I didn't feel isolated at all. And then I also felt very physically connected to the Earth. I would look out and I would see the Earth, especially when I was on a spacewalk. I can remember looking at the Earth and realizing how close we were to the Earth on the International Space and how connected we were.
That must just be the most magnificent vision to be looking down at the Earth. What is that like?
I think I'll probably spend the rest of my life trying to find the right words, but I remember holding on to the side of the space station and looking down and just seeing my feet and then the Earth moving. And the best way I can describe it, when you look out over the Earth, especially when you're on a spacewalk, it's like orbital mechanics in fast forward. You can see the sun moving and the moon moving, and you can see the Earth spinning, and you really feel like you are part of all the solar system posters that you were growing up and looking at. And you also feel this profound sense of fragility of the Earth. The atmosphere is so thin, our planet is so beautiful, and it's the best planet in the solar system. I assure you, I went and checked. So we have a sense of needing to take care of it.
It's so fascinating to hear you talk about being in space and looking down at the Earth. I think for most of us mere mortals, that image that you're describing is both awe-inspiring but also sort of terrifying. Do astronauts not feel fear?
Oh, we feel fear. And I often, when I talk to kids, I always say, it's not that we have the absence of fear. It's that you just have to be a little bit more brave than you are afraid. So it's feeling the fear and doing it anyway. But interestingly, in really dynamic times, like for instance, what Bob and Doug are doing right now, when you have so many things to think about that you're thinking about executing the mission, the only thing you're worried about is screwing up a procedure, really. But you don't really take the time to reflect on the big picture until either you're finished and you're looking back, or like today, you're sitting here like I am in my living room and watching my two friends about to launch. That's really, I think, when it hits you.
Right. So you're so involved in the procedures that you have to take care of, as a scientist when you're in space, that you don't have a lot of time or free time to reflect. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, over the course of 6 months, there was a lot of reflecting time, a lot more than I make time for when I'm here on Earth. But the procedures that these two test pilots are going through right now, they are very heads down, focus on the procedures, double checking everything. And if I had to guess, they're very calm. I've actually been struck that on launch day, the calmest people are the astronauts that are boarding the vehicle. I noticed that when I was a backup crew member. I woke up with a lot of excitement for the day, and I realized the crew that was launching was very calm. And then on my launch day, I realized why. You just wake up with a real sense of purpose and focus.
And one last question. In your mind, do you think these two astronauts will get any sleep tonight, or will excitement keep them up the whole night?
As soon as they run out of things to do, they're going to be exhausted. But until that moment, there's going to be a lot of adrenaline pumping through those veins that'll keep them going.
All right. Well, astronaut Anne McClain, thank you so much for sharing your personal experiences with us in space and putting all of this into perspective for us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
And again, we are about half an hour away from liftoff. Ahead of the historic event, our Mark Strassman spoke to SpaceX founder Elon Musk and NASA Administrator Jim Bridenstine.
I'm the chief engineer of the thing, so I just like to say, if it goes right, it's credit to the SpaceX NASA team. If it goes wrong, it's my fault.
You believe that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We met Elon Musk and NASA Administrator Jim Bridenstine inside Kennedy Space Center's Launch Control Center. This is SpaceX's firing room, where Musk will watch today's scheduled liftoff. His Falcon 9 rocket stood on Launch Pad 39A, the same pad that sent Apollo 11 to the moon.
It's an incredible honor to be on this launch pad, for which we're immensely grateful. 39A is like Times Square. It's not just opening a play on Broadway, it's opening a play on Times Square. Okay, it's the best pad in the world.
What does this moment mean to you?
Well, this is the culmination of a dream. This is a dream come true. In fact, it feels surreal. If you'd asked me when starting SpaceX, if this would happen, I'd be like 1%, 0.1% chance.
Since SpaceX launched 18 years ago, Musk has revolutionized rocketry and the business model of space travel. His Falcon 9 rocket is reusable, a milestone breakthrough, because it slashes the dominant cost of launching. Bridenstine says that sort of corporate innovation is key to NASA's future, too.
Now, for the first time, the government is saying, look, we want to be a customer for sure, but we want to be one customer of many. And we want to have numerous providers that are competing on cost and innovation. This is the beginning of a commercial marketplace in space.
SpaceX has had 19 successful launches of cargo to the International Space Station. But with this launch, for the first time, SpaceX will carry people. NASA astronauts Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley. By far, it's the company's most pivotal test.
Is there one thing that keeps you up at night about this launch?
Not one thing.
No.
There's a lot of things.
Because a million things have to go right.
Yes. Thousands of things that can go wrong, and only one thing that can go right. Anything anyone can think of to improve the probability of success and make sure Bob and Doug are safely taken to the space station, that is the absolute priority. In fact, I've told the SpaceX team it is not simply the top priority, it is the only priority.
How does that responsibility weigh on you?
It weighs very heavily. It's really all I can think about right now. I really have to mentally block it, because otherwise it would be emotionally impossible to deal with.
It's that significant.
Yes. You know, I was asking them just a few hours ago, it's like, you guys feel good about this? Is there anything you want us to do? And man, they're cool as a cucumber. I mean, they're just like nerves of steel.
It's astonishing. I mean, they're ready to go. I sent them a text yesterday, and I said, if there's anything you want me to do to stop this,
exactly, totally.
I'll stop it in a heartbeat.
Yes.
And both of them said, we're go for launch, both of them.
So the astronauts are cooler than you two.
Right?
I think so.
Probably.
One of Bridenstine's goals, get Americans excited about space again. A successful launch would do that. NASA is also working with actor Tom Cruise to film a space movie. Wait for it, aboard the space station.
What is the deal with astronaut Tom Cruise?
Actually, I think that remains to be seen. We're supportive, and I think NASA is supportive of anything that captures the imagination of the public.
If they want to go to the International Space Station and make a movie and inspire a generation of
absolutely,
explorers,
for sure.
that's exactly what we're looking for.
Yeah, it's cool.
I'm going to tell you something that I don't often admit, but I became a Navy pilot because I watched the movie Top Gun when I was in 6th grade, and it changed my life. The question is Tom Cruise making a movie about going to the International Space Station, is he going to inspire the next Elon Musk? That's the question. And if he can do that, then we win.
Mark Strassman, CBS News.
And CBS News' Skylar Henry joins me now from the Kennedy Space Center. Hi, Skylar. What can you tell us about what's going on at the Space Center? President Trump is there, correct?
Hey, Tanya, good afternoon to you. It's funny you say that. We actually are watching the presidential motorcade drive in to the building right behind our camera right now. We saw several black SUVs come in maybe 5 or 6 minutes ago, but we actually just saw the presidential limousine, the Beast, just pull in to the parking lot right behind us. But there's a lot of anticipation out here. We've seen people line up along the highway trying to get a glimpse of this rocket launch if it should happen. Now, a big question has been the weather. Will it be appropriate enough for an actual launch to happen? Now, it's been on, off. We've had a tornado warning here where we actually had to leave the roof for a period of time, but it is relatively clear now, still a little bit cloudy, but all systems are go in terms of the astronauts aboard the Falcon 9 rocket. Everything is put in place. The hatchet is closed. Everyone is prepared for this launch should it happen. I'm going to look over real quick just to look at the countdown clock. We have about 21 minutes left before this launch. If it should happen, everyone is in place. Spectators are in place. And I think these astronauts, as you heard in Mark's piece, they're cool as a cucumber either way, so they are prepared as well.
Very, very exciting. Of course, everyone is keeping their fingers crossed concerning the weather. Skylar, we know that people were asked not to convene at the Kennedy Space Center because of the coronavirus crisis. Does it seem like most people have sort of obeyed that mandate?
Well, as far as the visitor center, they typically have spectators that watch the launch. Apparently, this is my first launch, so apparently what people have been saying before is that it's typically a lot more packed in terms of just on base, in terms of getting a glimpse of a rocket go into the air. And that it could be same that could be said for the media as well. We've seen a significant reduction in terms of the media that were credentialed to actually get on base to watch this rocket launch because of the coronavirus threat. What NASA has asked is for people to celebrate virtually in this case. But then again, how can you stay away from wanting to get a glimpse of something like this? As I mentioned before, we've seen people who are lined up in RVs and in campers and in tents just trying to get a glimpse of something like this. But again, the coronavirus threat is here, and NASA is doing its part to try to make sure that there is some semblance of social distancing happening here at the Kennedy Space Center.
All right, Skylar Henry there at the Kennedy Space Center. Thank you so much for that. Dennis Overby joins us now. He is a cosmic affairs correspondent for the New York Times. Dennis, welcome. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed reading your story in the Times today. Is it time to play with spaceships again, you ask? So, Dennis, let's talk about last year, which marked 50 years since we landed on the moon. If this mission is successful, what would this mean for the space race and the future of space travel as a whole?
Well, I think it's vaulting it into a new arena in which private enterprise is really taking the lead in adventurous space travel. And there are many people who think that Elon Musk has a better chance of getting to Mars than NASA does, because he's just been more imaginative and creative in building rockets. You know, I'm still in awe of the Falcon Heavy launch a couple of years ago, and watching those rockets come back down to Earth. I mean, I thought I was watching a computer simulation at first, but that was the real thing. Nobody thought that was possible.
It is a historic collaboration, right, between a private company and NASA. Are there any ethical concerns, though, about turning over space travel to private companies?
Well, I don't think so. I mean, I think the main thing that private companies have going for them is that they can take their own risk, and if something goes wrong on this flight or some other SpaceX mission, Elon Musk doesn't have to spend 2 years answering to congressional committees. He can just go ahead, and I think that's the future of the space program, is allowing people to take their own risks. I'm sorry, go ahead.
And so what kinds of opportunities for space travel or space study might become available to NASA if it continues partnering with private companies like SpaceX?
Well, I think it has to partner with these companies, because that's kind of been the mandate, really, for the last 10 years. NASA is no longer operating a space truck to the space station. Private enterprise is doing that, and they're trying to concentrate on bigger issues, getting to Mars or getting to the moon. And it's not clear what rockets are going to wind up achieving this. I mean, this space launch system, which they're building for the moon missions, the Artemis program, isn't going to have its first flight until 1.5 years from now. So I think they're
now. You write about the fact that. Sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead, Dennis.
No, you were starting to ask. You're starting to ask a question.
You write about how space travel is often combined with, larger world events. It's often seen through a political lens. And how would you then contextualize this particular launch?
I think in the 60s, there wasn't that much. The reason we did the Apollo program was to beat the Russians. And as soon as we beat the Russians, it was over. I mean, they were already taking the program down before the Apollo missions had even finished. Even by the time of Apollo 13, they were already canceling missions. this time around, I mean, I don't see the need to beat the Chinese or to beat the Russians to the moon. And I think these kinds of projects are going to take way more money than Congress has been shown itself to appropriate in the last 20 years. We've seen all kinds of bright beginnings. Bush had the Constellation program that was going to go back to the moon, but he never asked for enough money to do it. Obama took it apart and wanted to put more of the emphasis on the Mars. Then Trump's people came in and they've changed the emphasis back to the moon. I'm not sure that sort of back and forth shifting goals without enough money to do it is going to change anytime soon.
Now, Dennis, ahead of today's launch, NASA Administrator Jim Bridenstine said this is the beginning of a, quote, commercial marketplace in space. And you write that we have, yet to fully answer why we keep sending humans into space, as climate change accelerates and there is talk about perhaps we need to find another planet eventually. Could that be the answer?
I think in the long run, maybe we do need to find another planet, but that's not going to happen in our lifetimes or our grandchildren's lifetimes. I just finished reading about the early Antarctic explorers, and living in Antarctica is almost impossible, but it's a trip to the beach compared to Mars. So I think that the reason to go to Mars is for science, to show that it can be done. I mean, to find out if there ever was life on Mars or if life is possible on Mars. There's some theories that life actually started on Mars and came to Earth. I think these are all important reasons to visit Mars and explore Mars. I don't think we're going to see people living there, except in the sense that people live in Antarctica and do science there. But your sister really.
And so, Dennis, as some.
I hate to be kind of I realize I'm sounding kind of downbeat, but because this is exciting. I mean, it's really exciting to see this happen. And it is kind of sort of a new Buck Rogers era that a lot of people predicted long ago would happen, but we still.
Well, that is my next question to you, because as someone who's been covering the universe for more than 30 years, what are you most looking forward to with this launch?
First of all, I'm looking forward to this launch going well, and I'm actually really looking forward to the sight of those rockets coming back down, because I used to go to a lot of space shuttle launches back in the day, and I'm just always impressed by the amount of violence that you have to harness to get away from the Earth's gravity. It's just, it's impossible. It seems like it's impossible that you could control that. And of course.
Well, Dennis, I hate to interrupt you, but sorry, Dennis, I need to interrupt you, because speaking of things that you can't control, I've just been told by my producers in my ear that the launch has been postponed. We're not quite sure yet why, although I would imagine it is the weather. But you're not surprised by that, correct?
No, this is part of the game, and I really wish I were in Florida right now, because part of the fun of covering space launches is that then you have to wait until the next launch attempt, and you just might have to hang out on a beach or something like that. That's problematical in the present era. So yeah, that's disappointing for the astronauts, but they're used to it. They're all strapped in, ready to go, and now they can't go. And we're all revved up, and now there's nothing to be revved up about.
Well, they were prepared for that possibility. Of course, we don't yet know if it's just a delay or it's a postponement for another day. We'll of course, tell our viewers as soon as we know. But Dennis Overby of the New York Times, thank you so much for joining us with your 30 years of expertise
the next
covering the
launch
cosmos.
window is the next launch window is Saturday afternoon, about 3 o'clock, I think. So maybe we'll all be back.
So maybe
then.
Right, exactly. Maybe we'll see you then again.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Dennis.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we're going to take you now to a CBS News special report. Let's listen in.
The Kennedy Space Center. Stormy weather has forced today's SpaceX launch to be scrubbed. This was to be the historic first crewed flight of the Crew Dragon, the first privately owned and operated spacecraft to send astronauts into orbit. The next possible launch date will be on Saturday. We want to bring in Mark Strassman, who's been standing by all day at the Kennedy Space Center. Mark?
Well, they came close, Nora, but 17 minutes before launch, SpaceX Launch Control made the call that the weather conditions violated several different safety rules. They're going to have to try again this weekend. This was supposed to be a historic moment in space travel, the first time in 9 years that a spacecraft would leave from U.S. soil carrying U.S. astronauts, the first time in nearly 40 years that astronauts would fly in a brand new spacecraft, and the first time ever that a private company would launch humans into space. Now, of course, that is on hold, but again, the reasons are because of weather as a safety precaution. President Trump was here along with the First Lady. Vice President Trump is also here to watch what they hope will be a launch, but it, of course, is now not going to be one. And now, of course, they have to drain the tanks. The astronauts are still in the Space Dragon capsule. They will remain there for about an hour while the tanks are being drained. The launch will now be rescheduled for Saturday, the next time they could possibly do it, Saturday at 3:21 Eastern Time. If it's a no-go on Saturday, they would shoot again for Sunday at 2:59. And Nora, they'll just have to hope for better weather.
Well, really, it's somewhat of a disappointment, certainly for many, but taking safety precautions as necessary. It was really moving today to see the two astronauts with a final goodbye to their families. I know these astronauts have been in quarantine for several weeks and that you've spoken with them, but these are emotional moments.
There are emotional moments, and it was touching today at one point to see the families, the two wives, both astronauts themselves, and the sons of Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley give the astronauts a virtual hug goodbye as they stepped into a Tesla and were driven to the launch pad. If you listen to astronauts, of course, they will often say that these launch day stresses are the hardest on the families who have to watch, and now they're going to have to go through the whole thing again, presumably sometime this weekend.
This will be quite an achievement for Elon Musk and SpaceX and NASA and these astronauts. If this is a go later this weekend, well, they will make another attempt at ushering America into a new era of spaceflight. To Mark Strassman and our entire CBS News team on the ground there at Kennedy Space Center, thank you. Our coverage will continue on our 24-hour streaming network, CBSN. You can also watch it at cbsnews.com. You can find it on our CBS News app. There will be more in your local news on this CBS station, and we'll have a full wrap-up tonight on the CBS Evening News with all the other day's news. This has been a CBS News special report. I'm Nora O'Donnell, CBS News, Washington.
For news 24 hours a day.
And once again, as you just heard from our Nora O'Donnell there, the SpaceX launch that was scheduled to go off at 4:33 p.m. Eastern Time has been postponed. They're going to try again for Saturday at 3:22 p.m. The weather conditions were not quite right, and of course, safety is first. We're going to take a quick break now. We'll be right back with much more news on the other side, so stay with us. You're streaming CBSN, CBS News, always on.
In 60 years, we went from about 100,000 factory workers to probably about 7,000.
Off in the distance, you can see some factories that are still humming, but most of them are just kind of abandoned.
The restaurant industry right now is one of the largest and fastest growing industries in America. And and yet it continues to be the absolute lowest paying employer in the United States.
Barely anybody's making enough to live.
You're donating plasma to get by.
It's literally a slave wage.
I don't remember growing up like this. My mom didn't have to go to food banks. It's pretty sad.
How do we put this in perspective about how worried we should be?
We're going to share the newest numbers and critical information on the outbreak.
Vladimir Duthier is tracking the plight of the restaurant business. Vlad?
You've been talking to doctors. What are they saying to you about their experiences?
Doctors and scientists in a race against time to cure coronavirus. Every evening we'll show how close they are, racing to a cure on the CBS Evening News with Nora O'Donnell.
These are hard, tiring, taxing jobs, even before coronavirus came.
This is my Clorox wipes, my Lysol. I have no idea what I'm walking into. I don't know if the customers are carriers.
I feel privileged to be out here when so many people are out of work.
Did you ever think that you would find yourselves at the front line?
We have the opportunity to bring something valuable to the community, and that feels good.
We have to be willing to change policy on a permanent basis to recognize and honor these workers.
Doesn't seem like it's worth the risk that you endure every day.
I have to do what I can to take care of myself and my family.
If you had the choice, would you stay home?
Maybe, yeah.
The truck is sinking.
Devastating flooding has reached catastrophic levels.
Rising sea levels are threatening America's coasts.
You would have to take that house and put it on stilts 10 feet tall. If the street is filled with salt water, what difference does it make how high you make your house?
The concentration of the highest rental rates is exactly where the elevation is highest.
This was the evidence to prove that climate gentrification was real.
Pay $1,800 in 5 days or you have to leave. Were you scared?
Yes.
Every single person who stood up and said, I am not paying this rent increase, received an eviction.
Haitians built this place and you're getting kicked out.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tanya Rivero. The SpaceX flight scheduled for today has been postponed due to weather. There will be another launch attempt on Saturday at 3:22 p.m. Eastern Time. Joining us now to put this all into context is NASA astronaut Anne McClain. And thank you for sticking with us. I guess this wasn't the outcome we were all hoping for, but as we were discussing earlier, it was very much a possibility that was expected, correct?
That's right. We definitely expect this possibility, not only with the weather, but with all of our other systems. Elon Musk said today, 10,000 things can go wrong and only one thing can go right. And so, we're constantly looking and evaluating all the systems, weather being one of them. It's disappointing, but I tell you from the astronauts' perspective, we really don't second guess these decisions. Everybody on the ground wants to make this mission happen. And if there's a scrub, there's a good reason.
Right. It's clearly because of safety, correct?
That's correct. And unfortunately, the weather forecasters can't control the weather. I'm sure if they could, they would have given us something good. But we appreciate all the efforts of everybody across the world to look at the weather and all the systems, everything to support the launch. And we're going to come back and do it again on Saturday.
This is typical. You're an astronaut. This is par for the course, right?
This is par for the course. There's been so many changes in schedules. These two astronauts were assigned to this mission to start developing it in about 2014. So it's been a long time waiting. A few more days is hard, but we do expect it because these are really complicated systems. I think sometimes at NASA we can make the nearly impossible look routine. But every single day the International Space Station flies, every spacewalk, every launch is extremely complicated. It takes a lot of things to go right. And unfortunately, these things happen. So weather is one of those things that's out of our control. We still haven't figured out how to control it, but we'll do it again Saturday.
And Anne, we know that June 1st is the beginning of hurricane season. So, of course, there's no guarantee that the weather will be perfect on Saturday either. Is there a third potential date?
Well, if there's one thing I've learned working at NASA is that we don't just have backup plans, we have backup plans to all of those backup plans. So there are as many dates as it takes us to get a clear day.
All right. Well, we will be waiting and anticipating eagerly. Anne McLean, thank you so much for joining us. It's always great to get the perspective of an astronaut. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. We'll see you again Saturday.
And we're going to take a quick break now. You're streaming CBSN, CBS News, always on.
In 60 years, we went from about 100,000 factory workers to probably about 7,000.
Off in the distance, you can see some factories that are still humming, but most of them are just kind of abandoned.
The restaurant industry right now is one of the largest and fastest growing industries in America. And yet it continues to be the absolute lowest paying employer in the United States.
Barely anybody's making enough to live.
You're donating plasma to get by.
It's literally a slave wage.
I don't remember growing up like this. My mom didn't have to go to food banks. It's pretty sad.
How do we put this in perspective about how worried we should be?
We're going to share the newest numbers and critical information on the outbreak.
Vladimir Duthier is tracking the plight of the restaurant business. Vlad?
You've been talking to doctors. What are they saying to you about their experiences?
Doctors and scientists in a race against time to cure coronavirus. Every evening we'll show how close they are, racing to a cure on the CBS Evening News with Nora O'Donnell.
These are hard, tiring, taxing jobs, even before coronavirus came.
This is my Clorox wipes, my Lysol. I have no idea what I'm walking into. I don't know if the customers are carriers.
I feel privileged to be out here when so many people are out of work.
Did you ever think that you would find yourselves at the front line?
We have the opportunity to bring something valuable to the community, and that feels good.
We have to be willing to change policy on a permanent basis to recognize and honor these workers.
Doesn't seem like it's worth the risk that you endure every day.
I have to do what I can to take care of myself and my family.
If you had the choice, would you stay home?
Maybe, yeah.
Oh my God, the truck is sinking.
Devastating flooding has reached catastrophic levels.
Rising sea levels are threatening America's coasts.
You would have to take that house and put it on stilts 10 feet tall. If the street is filled with salt water, what difference does it make how high you make your house?
The concentration of the highest rental rates is exactly where the elevation is highest.
This was the evidence to prove that climate gentrification was real.
Pay $1,800 in 5 days or you have to leave. Were you scared?
Yes.
Every single person who stood up and said, I am not paying this rent increase, received an eviction.
Haitians built this place and you're getting kicked out.
Yes.
Minneapolis saw violent protests yesterday over the death of a black man who appeared to be suffocated during an attempted arrest. Officers fired tear gas while protesters chanted, "I can't breathe." That is what 46-year-old George Floyd told police before he died Monday night. His arrest can be seen in a 10-minute video where a white officer is seen pinning down Floyd's neck. Our Jeff Begays is following this and spoke to members of Floyd's family.
This was the chaotic scene in downtown Minneapolis last night. Hundreds of protesters clashing with police over the death of George Floyd. Earlier in the evening, chants for justice rang out at the site where Floyd was killed.
I cannot breathe.
The protest followed Floyd's death on Monday night. A white police officer pressed his knee into Floyd's neck for more than 7 minutes as the 46-year-old pleaded for help with his hands cuffed behind his back before his body went still.
Oh my God. And they were doing what cops normally do these days. You know, just kill black folks.
Last night, we spoke to Rodney and Philonise Floyd, George's brothers, and Tara Brown, his cousin.
You don't believe when they say that he was resisting and that's what sort of got this chain of events started?
You have eyes, I have eyes. There's no need to believe what they say. You can see what you saw. And I saw, and the whole nation saw, the country saw, and every person, black person in America saw the same thing, because it don't happen to nobody else.
Police claim Floyd was a suspect in a forgery case at a deli, and that he had physically resisted officers. But new surveillance video obtained by CBS News from a restaurant nearby shows officers calmly detaining him. Attorney Benjamin Crump is representing Floyd's family.
He was handcuffed long before they took him to that car. And you can see his demeanor from the security video. They did not have to use this excessive lethal force.
This was clearly murder. We want to see them arrested. We want to see them charged. We want to see them convicted.
I see you wiping tears from your eyes. What's running through your mind right now when you're, just going through this?
Just thinking, just how amazing my brother was. He never did anything to nobody. Everybody loved my brother.
There has been an outpouring of support for George Floyd across the country. On Twitter, presumptive Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden tweeted Floyd's family deserves justice and called for police to be held responsible for their actions. And former NBA player Steven Jackson remembered his longtime friend, whom he considered to be family.
Floyd was my brother, man. We called each other twin, bro. Everybody know me and Floyd called each other twin.
New York City has been the hardest hit in the U.S. by the coronavirus. Now the numbers have been going down there for weeks as cases rise in several other parts of the country. Currently, the U.S. has over 1.6 million coronavirus cases and more than 99,000 deaths. This is a look at the front page of USA Today as the death toll nears 100,000. It shows pictures of some who have lost their lives to COVID-19 and then shows it on scale of 100,000. Our David Begnaud has the latest on the reopening of the country.
With the proper safety measures and with extraordinary caution, we can now go back into all stores.
That's the mayor of Los Angeles, Eric Garcetti, announcing the reopening of retail businesses, churches, pools, and drive-in theaters with restrictions. Outside of New York, some businesses are reopening on Long Island today. That is, despite the region having the state's highest number of coronavirus cases outside of New York City's 5 boroughs.
We're hoping to just salvage the rest of the season.
Cases in the state of New York continue to decline. But on Tuesday, 27 states reported increases in their average daily new coronavirus cases. That's compared to 2 weeks ago, including Minnesota. That is where the statewide number of COVID-19 patients in intensive care hit a new high, 258 people. ICU capacity in the Twin Cities stands at 87%. Meanwhile, there continue to be outbreaks at food processing plants nationwide, from a fruit facility in Vancouver, Washington, to a fish packing plant in Santa Clara, California. And in Iowa, new outbreaks at 2 pork processors. On Monday, Jose Ayala, a maintenance worker at a Tyson meat packing plant in Waterloo, Iowa, died. He had been in the hospital for 6 weeks.
He just has this laugh that spreads to the whole room.
Zach Medhog was Jose's friend and his coworker for the past year. He was also by his side before he died.
When you grab their hand and they can't grab it back, somebody that you work with all of the time, and then they just aren't moving at all. It's scary.
David Begnaud, CBS News.
As we mentioned earlier, the U.S. is reaching that grim milestone of coronavirus deaths, 100,000 deaths nationwide. Now, that is more than the number of Americans killed in the Korean and Vietnam Wars combined. And it could soon top the U.S. death toll from World War I. The coronavirus is often compared to another global crisis from more than a century ago. Starting in 1918, the Spanish flu killed around 675,000 Americans and an estimated 500 million people worldwide. President Trump is lashing out at Twitter after the social media company issued its first fact check on one of his tweets. The president is making a number of baseless claims about voting on the platform, particularly attacking state plans for mail-in voting. Twitter added a label to, quote, get the facts on voting to the president's tweet, which notes his claims are unsubstantiated. CBS News White House correspondent Paula Reed explains why Twitter is fact-checking the president.
Twitter has become a political flashpoint after flagging 2 of the president's recent tweets. In a statement, the company said the president's messages about mail-in ballots contain potentially misleading information about voting processes and have been labeled to provide additional context. The social media company has been facing pressure after another unsubstantiated claim by the president, where he pushed a baseless conspiracy theory accusing cable news host and former Congressman Joe Scarborough of killing his former staff member, Lori Klasutis. She suffered a heart condition that caused her to fall and hit her head in Scarborough's office in 2001. A medical examiner ruled her death an accident. In a letter, Lori's widower asked Twitter to delete the president's tweets, saying